Would you live 45 stories underground? What if the next city you live in isn't above you, but beneath your feet? Imagine bustling streets above, while thousands live, work, and shop in a massive underground metropolis. Welcome to the Earthscraper, the future of housing like you've never seen before. The concept is called the Earthscraper, a massive underground inverted skyscraper that flips everything we know about architecture upside down. Instead of steel and glass piercing the sky, this structure would plunge hundreds of meters into the ground, housing thousands of people in a world powered by sunlight, funneled down through gigantic shafts and mirrors. In today's video, we're going to peel back the layers of this idea. We'll explore how it was imagined, whether it could actually work, and if this is humanity's most ambitious answer to one of the biggest challenges of our time, the housing crisis. And by the end, you'll have to decide, could you actually live in a city beneath the earth? Or is this one vision of the future we're better off leaving as a fantasy? The housing crisis that won't go away. Have you ever wondered why it feels impossible to buy a home these days? You're not imagining it. Homeownership has become one of the greatest struggles of the modern era. Across the world's biggest cities, housing has become less of a dream and more of a cruel joke. In New York City, a one-bedroom apartment now rents for over $4,000 USD a month. That's more than the average American takes home after taxes. In San Francisco, just getting on the property ladder means you either struck gold in tech or inherited wealth. London is no better. Paris? Forget about it. Toronto? Prices have doubled in just a decade. But let's go even further. Mumbai, India. Here's a statistic that will blow your mind. Even if you're in the top 5% of earners in the city, you'd still need to save every penny you make for more than 100 years just to afford a modest apartment. Think about that for a moment. It's not just difficult, it's mathematically impossible for most people. And this isn't just a local problem, it's global. According to the United Nations, over 2.8 billion people right now either have no home or live in conditions that are considered unsafe or inadequate. That's more than 1 in 3 people alive today. And here's the kicker. Over the next 25 years, another 2.5 billion people are expected to move into cities. That's like taking the entire population of China and India combined and adding them into urban centers around the world. So here's the question staring us in the face. Where are all these people going to live? Skyscrapers. Our first attempt at a solution. When humans run out of space, we do something radical. We reach for the sky. But what if our obsession with going up has blinded us to another solution? For over a century, skyscrapers have been the go-to answer. When land runs out, the solution has always been simple: build higher. That's how the Empire State Building came to dominate New York in the 1930s. That's why the Sears Tower defined the Chicago skyline in the 1970s. And that's how we ended up with the Burj Khalifa in Dubai today, the tallest man-made structure in history at 2,522 feet tall. These aren't just buildings. They're monuments to human ambition. Skyscrapers transformed cities. They allowed millions of people to live and work in concentrated areas, fueling economies, industries, and global culture. But here's the problem. Skyscrapers were never about affordability. They were about prestige. And more often than not, they've become symbols of inequality. Think about luxury towers in New York City, apartments selling for $50 million USD, many of them sitting empty because they're owned by billionaires who treat them as investment properties. Meanwhile, just a few blocks away, thousands of ordinary people struggle to make rent. And let's not forget the environmental cost. Skyscrapers create shadows that block out the sun, alter wind patterns on the streets below, and often consume enormous amounts of energy just to stay livable. They are, in many ways, marvels of engineering, but they're not solving the real problem. So here's the radical question. What if, instead of looking up, we started looking down? The Earthscraper concept, turning architecture upside down. Imagine flipping a skyscraper upside down and burying it underground. Crazy? That's exactly what one bold group of architects proposed. In 2011, a Mexico City-based firm called BNKR Arquitectura revealed a concept that stunned the world, the Earthscraper. Their idea was to build an inverted pyramid, 65 stories deep, right beneath Mexico City's historic main square. Instead of towering into the sky, This building would plunge nearly 1,000 feet into the ground. At its heart would be a giant hollow shaft, a light funnel, stretching from the surface all the way to the bottom. Sunlight would be captured at ground level and reflected down using mirrors and filters, filling even the lowest levels with natural light. Around this central core, floors would spiral downward, housing offices, apartments, museums, shops, and even public plazas. And here's the genius part. Building downward meant Mexico City could preserve its iconic public square above ground, while gaining thousands of square meters of space below it. From the street, you'd see nothing unusual. But below your feet, a vertical city humming with life. It was daring, provocative, and wildly imaginative. But could something like this actually work? Lessons from history. We've lived underground. Before, if living underground sounds unnatural, here's a twist. Humans have already done it, and some of those underground cities still exist today. Take Derinkuyu in Turkey's Cappadocia region. Over 1,500 years ago, people carved out an enormous underground city in volcanic rock, stretching 18 levels deep. It had ventilation shafts, wells, kitchens, stables, and even places of worship. At its peak, it could shelter 20,000 people. Families raised children, prepared meals, and carried on daily life beneath the earth for safety, for survival, and for community. Fast forward to today, and we see echoes of this in modern cities. Helsinki, Finland, has developed an underground world stretching nearly 300 kilometers. Down there, you'll find shopping centers, data centers, swimming pools, and even an underground church. Tokyo built the world's largest underground flood control system, a colossal series of tunnels and chambers designed to protect the city from devastating typhoons. So let's be clear. Living and building underground isn't science fiction. It's something humanity has done for centuries. The question isn't whether we can, but whether we can do it on the scale of something like an Earthscraper. The challenges nobody talks about. Here's the part that sounds less like a dream and more like a nightmare: the risks of building underground. Could be catastrophic. Let's start with earthquakes. Mexico City sits in a seismic zone. Imagine digging 65 stories deep into soft, unstable ground, then expecting the structure to withstand major tremors. The potential for collapse is terrifying. Then there's water. Mexico City is built on an ancient lakebed, meaning the soil is soggy and unstable. At depths of hundreds of meters, the pressure of groundwater could be overwhelming. One miscalculation and entire levels could flood in minutes. And what about air? It's easy to pump air into a basement, but into 65 floors, underground, that requires a ventilation system on a scale we've never attempted before. Now imagine a fire breaking out on the 40th underground floor. How do you evacuate thousands of people? Elevators won't cut it. Staircases would need to be massive, sprawling, and carefully engineered. So yes, the Earthscraper is an incredible idea. But it's also fighting against nature itself. A new way of thinking. But maybe, just maybe, the Earthscraper isn't about whether it gets built at all. Maybe it's about shifting the way we think about space. For centuries, we've been obsessed with building higher. It's become a kind of architectural ego trip, cities competing to see who can touch the clouds first. But why should height be the only measure of progress? Think about Finland, which has turned its rocky underground bedrock into a thriving second layer of its city. Think about Japan, which has embraced underground infrastructure as protection against floods. Now imagine the US Midwest, plagued by tornadoes, building underground communities where families could live safe from deadly storms. Imagine desert cities like Dubai going underground to escape blistering heat while keeping the surface free, for green parks and open plazas. The Earthscraper isn't just one project. It's a wake-up call. It says, stop looking only upward. The future of cities might just be beneath us. Could you actually live underground? Let's make this personal. Would you really want to live 45 stories beneath the surface of the Earth? Picture this. You wake up in your underground apartment. Sunlight, captured from above, filters gently into your room through mirrored shafts. The air feels crisp, cool, and surprisingly fresh, thanks to high-tech ventilation. You grab a coffee and step outside your door. Instead of noisy, crowded streets, you enter a calm underground plaza with trees, cafes, and shops. Children play in artificial parks, People sit on benches reading. Life feels normal. Would you feel claustrophobic? Or would it feel like any other city, just without the chaos above? Studies show humans don't actually need direct views of the sky to feel content. As long as there's natural light, greenery, and community, people adapt quickly. Think about it. How much time do we already spend in windowless offices, malls, subways, or underground parking garages without giving it a second thought? Living underground might not be as strange as it sounds.